Hi, I'm Mark Tranter, Director of Software Engineering at V2 Digital.
And I'm Baldacchino, Director of Cloud and Infrastructure at V2 Digital. And look, today, Mark, we're here at AWS Sydney Summit, Day 1, Builders Day.
How good? How good, mate?
Is it?
Absolutely right off our feet today, meeting all the amazing builders and everyone that's here at the Summit. The keynote this morning.
Keynote, yeah, so we're fresh out of the keynote. So if we had to have a theme, I think no surprise here, it is AI. Gen AI, and more Gen AI. And I think, we went on a bit of a full circle story with Gen AI, during the keynote here today. Mm-hmm. We heard from people from Dave Brown, VP of Compute, talking about what Amazon is doing in that space.
Yeah.
And look, I'm going to coin this term, Mark. I'm going to call it...
I know exactly what you're going to say.
The AI layer cake.
Layer cake.
The layer cake. So let's explain. So for those who couldn't attend the keynote today, we're talking about the bottom layer of the cake. AWS has things like AWS Inferentia, driving down the cost of inference. I think we had Trainium as well.
Trainium, that's right.
So, these are the services that are, for the builders who are working at these directly with these large language models, at the model level.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, of course, with your layer cake metaphor, we're talking about Bedrock.
We're talking about Bedrock. And look, that's where I probably live. I'm not the most classically trained developer. Things like Bedrock, amazing.
And the big news, of course, was that Bedrock has been released in Australia today.
That's right.
Huge release.
If you are a regulated customer or you concerns around having your data stored locally, a big tick. But also, there's that performance aspect here. We're talking about the latency from being able to have an inference. No longer are we having to go 200 milliseconds away.
Yeah.
It's at max 30 milliseconds. So from a performance point of view.
Exactly. And the other thing that was mentioned, Shane, it was sort of snuck in a few times, was that customers are still really concerned about security and resilience.
For sure.
Right. So nothing's changed in that space. We've got Gen AI. It's super exciting, but AWS still really looking to flex on that resilience and security piece.
Well, look, as Amazon says, security is job zero.
Job zero.
Reflecting that back on Bedrock, we've got guardrails inside Bedrock. So having guardrails on the inference and on the completions of prompts, ensuring that what generative AI generates is on brand and on message.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Mark, let's pivot to developer productivity.
Yeah. So Amazon Q was a big seller as part of the keynote this morning. So for those who don't know, Amazon Q is an AI assistant for software engineers. It can be built directly into your IDE to allow you to build against Amazon services much more efficiently, much quicker. I think they were talking about BT. BT recently introduced Amazon Q and found something like a 12% saving across the board for their software engineers. That's pretty impressive results.
It's pretty impressive. And I know, as myself, as a wannabe classically trained coder, it helps supercharge my developer productivity. A few tabs, a few completions.
Whoa.
Check out that. We've got a bit of a bunny here. So, it really, really helps developers be more productive, focus on those high value versus low value.
Yeah, exactly. Undifferentiated heavy lifting.
Undifferentiated heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I just want to pivot back to, we're talking about, developer productivity, high value versus low value. There's all these large language models available today. And I think, some of the key differentiations of the AWS platform are things like AWS Inferentia. So we're talking about custom silicon, ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits that are purely designed for inference. So we're lowering the cost to be able to serve. So AI is great, and it's really good for those high value, low volume models. But when we're talking about high volume but low value, it becomes hard to do at scale.
Well, the quote was, there's no one model to rule them all, right? And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. It'll depend on your use case. For those higher volume use cases where you won't be using your top-end Anthropic models, you'll be looking at potentially much lower level, smaller language models that are much faster and much cheaper.
For sure,
right? Run inference jobs.
That relationship between cost, latency, and so on. So